Hey everyone, today let's walk through how you can set up OIDC or OpenID Connect with your Elasticsearch and Okta as your IDP. So OpenID Connect or OIDC, as you may know, is an identity layer which is built on top of OAuth 2.0. And it's really modern. It uses JSON-based web tokens or JOTs, and it's great for various applications, including web access to Kibana or Elasticsearch Kibana. So you can use Okta groups to easily add your employees and your users to Okta groups, which are then mapped to specific roles within Elastic. So that way you're able to configure granular access control very easily. And Okta in this case will be our OP or OIDC provider, and Elasticsearch will be the relying party or RP. So let's get started. So within your Okta admin console, let's go to directory, add a group. So in this case, I have created by clicking this button an Elastic groups, and I've added all the users that I need to this. And I've now what I'll do is I'll go into applications, go to applications, and then you create an application. You choose OIDC, you can choose web application, and then click next. Now I want to give it a name that I will remember. So let's give it Elastic Kibana OIDC, for example, and then leave all the defaults as is. And now this is an important piece, the sign and redirect URI. So let me go ahead and take a look at what the syntax looks like from the documentation. So let's click on OIDC and then Okta here. So that'll take me to the configuration that is needed for Okta. So over here, it tells me to use the Kibana endpoint. So for this, we log into our Elasticsearch deployment. Click over here under deployment and then right click and open a new tab with manage deployment. So that will help us get the Kibana endpoint, which we can now copy and paste right here. And from here, we see that we also need to append API security callback to the login redirect URI. So let's do that. Awesome. So now we can just use the Kibana URI for the sign out redirect URI as well, and the base URI. All right, for the sign out redirect URI, you also need to add security and logged out to the end. So we're going to copy that and we will paste it right here within our Okta. All right, and for base URI, you can just leave it as is. Now let's go to assignments because we want to use groups. So we will limit our groups to the group that we just created, which was Elastic Groups. And once you're done, you just click save. That'll save. And then you go into, so in general, make sure that you note your client credentials as well as the client secret, very important. So this has all the configuration. This sign and redirect URI that you configure should be exactly the one that you configure in Elasticsearch. So make sure that you pay attention to this one. All right, so once you're done, go to Sign On tab within your Okta application. Now you have to click on Edit, and over here, you can choose to use a regular expression. I'm choosing to use a filter for groups that's exactly equal to Elastic Groups because that's what I need. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save here. Once done, you can now go into Sign On and make sure everything looks good. Go to Assignments and then make sure that the group that you assigned is over here as well. So that's good. And also go into your directory and groups and make sure that Elastic Groups has this application that you just created. So that's good. So it has that. So I think we're all set from the Okta groups and application perspective now. So now what we need to do is we need to configure the authorization server for claims. So for that, we'll go into security and we will go into APIs and we will configure our auth server. So auth server, basically the way it works is that it mints these tokens, and these tokens are then used for access and identity within OIDC. So for Elasticsearch to use the Okta groups for role mapping, Okta needs to send this group information over to Elastic as a claim in the ID token. So for that, what we need to do is select this scopes and then add a scope, and in this case, call it groups. And then just select optional and then create. So I've already created this over here, as you can see. Now you go into the claims tab and you go into ID, and then you create, you add a claim, you call it groups, call it ID token, you use the user info, and the value will be groups, and the group will be equal to, in my case, again, you can use regular expressions, but I'll just stick to elastic groups, and then the scope will be what you created, which is groups, and then you create. So I've already created this over here, so go ahead and do that. And then an access, if you want to, choose to add the email, so you can do that. So add the claim that you need. And once you're done with everything, make sure that the access policy is applied to the client which you created, the Elasticsearch client. So awesome. Once you've done that, you can just do a preview. Maybe let's select Kibana. Yeah, let's select the app that you created. Authorization code is the grant type. The user can be just a test user. And then the scopes that I want to test for specifically are OpenID Connect groups. I want to see what is being sent to Elasticsearch from here. And I want to also test email. So you can preview the tokens from within Okta. And you can see the email that is being sent. The group. So I think we are all set from the Okta perspective. Now what we can do is we can configure our Elasticsearch, and then we'll be done. So for the Elasticsearch piece, let's start with our configuration, which is mentioned right here. So first we need to add that client secret from Okta to Elasticsearch. So where did we see that client secret? We will head into applications, go into our app here, and then we have our client ID and our client secret over here. So we'll need that. So let's head over to our Elasticsearch, and we will click on Edit. So from here, we will go into Security, and then we will add the settings. So over here, as you can see from the documentation, that you need to copy this and paste it in the setting name. So over here, you can choose your OIDC realm name. In this case, I can choose to use maybe OIDC Okta, or whatever it is that you want to use. And then you just paste the secret that you copied from here. So copy this and paste the client secret into the single string, and then click Save. So I've already done this here, as you can see, and I have saved the secret. So that's step one, which is done. Next, we will go into Elasticsearch and we will configure the YAML file. So let's do that. Oh yeah, before that, let's actually set up a role, right? Let's set up a role, that granular role that I was talking about within Elasticsearch. So yeah, so let's go into Elasticsearch and let's search for DevTools. And over here, the documentation describes, you can just copy it from here, the role, and just paste it here. And once you paste it, you'll notice that the documentation actually talks about adding the email and the realm, but the username and the realm, but we want to use groups, right? So for that, I've made slight modifications. So you can choose to use groups and add your Elastic Groups name. And once you have clicked the button to send the request, that particular role mapping will be created within Elasticsearch. And you can also verify what that role mapping looks like by doing a GET request. So let's do that. And you can see that this particular role mapping was created with the groups, Elastic Groups. Okay, perfect. So once that is done, we will now head over to our step around configuring the YAML file. So the realm which you configured, which in this case they have used OIDC 1, you can choose to use your the name that you used in your key store. So that particular realm name should be exactly the one that you configured here, which is OIDC Okta. So let's do that. Let's copy this and paste it right into your elasticsearch.yaml file, which you will find from the deployment by clicking into Edit. Now, once you're in Edit, go to Manage User Settings and Extension, and you paste all of that content that you copied from here into your Elasticsearch user settings.yaml file. So this is where your realm name needs to be changed to whatever you used. Then you can adjust the order. It has to be 2 or greater. So I've adjusted the order to 2. The client ID has to be copied from your Okta settings, which I showed you earlier. The response type can remain code. Now we are choosing groups as one of the requested scopes. So I've added groups here. The redirect URI, as I mentioned, is super critical, has to match exactly what you configured within your Okta. So make sure it is exactly the same as the redirect URI, which you configured, which is this. Right, so double check this. I can see it's exactly the same, so that's good. And then the issuer has to be your Okta domain, and then the authorization endpoint. Make sure that you append whatever is needed, like the OAuth2 v1 authorize endpoint to your Okta domain, and the token endpoint, and then the job set path, as well as the user info endpoint. Now, the difference that I have made to this from the documentation over here is also added the groups information. So claims.groups, you can add groups. So this tells Elasticsearch to use groups claim from the ID token which was sent over. So once this is all done, you can click back. And now for the final part, we will be configuring Kibana. So in this case, we will come back to our documentation and we will come right to the end and we'll copy this. And you can put in a description, whatever you want, login with Okta. In this case, I have put in login with Okta OIDC. And once you're done, just come back here And I would also adjusted the order. So come back here and click Save. And that's it. You are done. So that was simple. Save your changes, allow the deployment to update, and then test it. So what I'll do now is I will close this. I'm just going to log out. And I'm going to go back to the sign in URI over here to test. Amazing. So I have this login with Okta OIDC, which I had configured. Um, and let's try it out. Amazing, we're in. So yeah, so this is how you configure OIDC with Okta and Elasticsearch. Save your changes, test it out, make sure you add the users that you need. And if you do get any unauthenticated errors, again, go back to the callback, double check the redirect URI in all places within Okta and the Elasticsearch configuration, and your client secret as well within the key store, make sure it's right. If you do get permissions denied after what seems like a successful login, then focus on your role mappings within Kibana, and then make sure you add the exact group names that you received from Okta. So those are some of my tips. And what you can also do is you can go in Okta and you can see from Okta reports and syslog to see what the latest login was. And you can see that you have been logged in with OIDC access token. So that's it, OIDC with Okta and Elasticsearch. Thank you for listening.